blood is thicker than water, and so is my comprehensive knowledge on extensive Godzilla films. I didn't really know how else to start this. The reason I bring up blood is thicker than water thing, that whole like quote about friends and family that always gets misinterpreted, cut off at the wrong moment to not give the full quote, is that it's been one of those times where I have had to go to see some family and thus seeing some extended family and then going like, wow, I'm glad I'm not around you lot all the time. It was one of those times where I went up to my grandmother's place to basically wish her a happy birthday. I gave her a funny card with an age joke that she appreciated. Wasn't the best card she got. The best card she got was, ma'am, your weekly wine delivery is here, and it had a massive oil truck, but the side of the container said wino. So that was pretty good. She really liked that one. So mine was a close second though. But what happened when I visited that side of the family was that the usual things that I kind of knew would happen would come up. I would talk about the stuff I do with everyone, because everyone always asks, what do you do, how's it going, blah blah blah, because it's they're regular, most of them fairly normal people, don't really understand the purview of like video editing and things like that, and that's fine. Like it's mostly just that I dread the usual topics that come up whenever you get like any kind of family get together. You get the inevitable politics talk, in where I want to hang myself. You get the inevitable people talking about trans or gay issues and all this, or certain stuff like that, and of course none of them really know what the fuck they're talking about, and so I want to hang myself. I try to just stay out of the conversation until someone says something objectionable. In this case, one of them's basically, we somehow got into the topic of this year's Olympics in France, and one of them brought up the opening ceremony, which I didn't see most of. I only saw the bits that Godzilla was playing at, because that's the band I like them. I like that band. No, not just because of its name. Obviously, I found them through their name, and I listened to their stuff, and I was like, oh shit, good. I actually like this band, and don't just like them for their name. So that was good. But one of them, members of the family, this was after the barbecue, after everything been eaten, so we were really getting into the alcohol, which I don't think brought this on, because they seemed pretty sober, honestly. But one of them mentioned, or not mentioned, just outright said, yeah, those degenerates in the opening ceremony are going to hell, though. And it was at that point where I was just I went from being in a place where I wasn't particularly interested, didn't really have anything to say, to going, fucking, what the fuck? Where's this come from? Calm down. What the fuck? No. That's not a good thing to say. And it wasn't even in a joking manner. They were being very sincere about it. And previous to conversations like this, I didn't really think too much of this person. I thought they were a good person. I thought, they were kind and considerate and that. And but one thing I do know of this person is that they are a bit more autistic than I am. I'll tell you, I'm fucking riddled with tism, if that's how you want to phrase it. I don't bring that up to excuse their behavior, far from it, but more to just lay the foundation as to why they are so easily influenced, how easily they just believe crap from all sorts of sources on the internet. And the further kind of discussions got on with this person, I was like, okay, I know the kind of podcast you're listening to. I know the kind of twats you're following on fucking TikTok and Twitter and all this garbage. And it was just no big argument really come about. They were very adamant in their belief that I'm pretty sure will be not a belief of theirs come the next time I see them in a year and 6 months, or whenever fuck I see them next. But I was just trying to give off the feeling of just you're not worth listening to. I'm not even going to argue with you. I don't have one, I don't have the energy. Two, I shouldn't fucking have to. I'm here to relax and see family members and just have a good time. I then later on in the car ride back watched the Olympics beginning stuff. And from what from how they talked about it, it's clear to me that their only real problem, or I guess what set them off really, and just like gave them an excuse to then just label them across the board as just degenerates and that they go into hell and stuff, is because they didn't do the most flattering depiction of Jesus. Mate, it is the year of our shitting Lord 2024, and you want to talk about they didn't depict Jesus very nicely. Get a fucking life. The idea that the fucking Olympics opening ceremony stuff, like it was this great stone being thrown at a church window. No. God, like, oh my God. It's one of those things where I want to tell them, touch grass. It's just like, dude, like, you're about as in touch with the earth as like putting your finger on a stone. You're about as in touch with the earth as dipping your toe in the water and just going, I've swam a stream. I fail to see the connection between what they were doing with the Olympics and the reason and any kind of justification for you thinking it's okay. Yeah, they're going to hell, when all they were doing is expressing themselves in a non-harmful manner, and you want to be like that guy. You want to be like that kind of person who just doesn't want to see any kind of bit of the world that is just like outside of your comfortability, however you're supposed to say that. You just don't want to see anything that's outside of the views that you ascribe onto others. The second someone that steps out of that boundary, you're just like, you write them off completely. And like, I know this is kind of getting into like heavy talk. It's less to do with like, someone said something that I had a problem with. It was more to just do with like, it was just so fucking out of nowhere. It was out of nowhere. It gave no impact towards the conversation other than me telling them to just shut up, just can we move on, kind of thing. Literally, to get onto the topics of the Olympics in the first place, you know what I said? I said, can we talk about something more lighthearted like religion as a joke? Luckily, we didn't actually move on to the talk about religion. Like, then we went on, it was like, oh, somebody mentioned, like, oh, so did anyone watch the Olympics? I was like, nah, wasn't particularly interested, but then I found out there was skateboarding stuff, so I watched a bit of skateboarding stuff. That was cool. Like, it was just the way that it just kind of bang, just like right there in the open, out of nowhere, for no good reason, like, at all. It wasn't like me holding a flashlight to the face and then going, give me your views on trans people right now. Give me your views on anyone who isn't straight. Tell me. Like, it was just blatant and just fucking exploded, and for no good fucking reason. It's like, why is your immediate thing that you feel you need to get out about the opening ceremony? It was like, they're degenerates. When they die, they're not going to have a nice time. I was just like, dude, you know I'm bi. You know I'm probably going to have a problem with you saying this shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why are you trying to make everybody else's, like, place in this barbecue, in this nice time we're supposed to be having, just awkward and uncomfortable, just because you feel the need that you need to say the thing you believe in? Like, you're not special. You're not important. Nobody cares. Shut the fuck up. Like, I just have, like, I always had this rule in the first place, but it was just like an extra, this is just like an extra reason that I now need to, what, do I now need to extend not talking about politics, religion, like, any kind of beliefs, any kind of belief structured, like, related thing? Do I now need to extend that to the fucking Olympics? Are you serious? Like, is this the point of fucking conversation I can have with you? If I mention anything, I have to make sure that it's not even tangentially related to anything that you don't know what the fuck you're talking about and are just like espousing this ignorant shit. Do I really have to do that? Do I really have to think about the things I'm going to talk to you about and be like, okay, well, is there even anyone or anything that could be related to that I could hold them in contention of? Like, I shouldn't have to be careful like that in terms of conversations. I shouldn't have to, like, struggle and worry about whether or not this is going to break into something I either currently don't have the energy to argue with you on, or just, like, I have to just let slide because it's going to kick up even more of a fuss than you're causing. It's for these reasons and more that, like, certain bits of the family, I'm just like, I don't really feel like I want to spend time with you, because yeah, I know you can be a nice person, but at the same time you can also bring up this garbage that I don't want anything to do with you with. Like I there's just no point. And what am I supposed to do? Just sit back and just be like, yeah, they're going to hell when they die. It's just like, dude, fucking shut up. Go away. If you're going to bring that kind of an agenda to a conversation, please go away. Not even the other family members who, you know, they're very openly like, well, I don't know anything about it. I just let them get on with it. I'm not going to pretend I know anything about them and their struggles and things they have to go through. Like, even they were just like, come on, just chill out. Talk about, if you're not going to, you know, try and have a conversation about you know, in an enjoyable way, in an enjoyable manner, just don't. We would rather you just didn't contribute. We would rather you were sat there in silence. And that's just something that I can't really do when somebody says crap like that. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm not exactly going to be the type of person that's like at the head of the protest, or like first to the picket fence, or anything like that. But at the same time, like, if you say something that is just very obvious, very blatantly fucking stupid, and is just an excuse for you to be like, I don't like that kind of people, please confirm my bias. Like, no. Like, that's the bit that's wildest to me. It's not like, oh, it's a person that exists that has these views and, oh no, they're in my family. It's like, I can, like, I've grown up enough to know that can obviously happen. It was more just like, we were having a nice fucking conversation, just very chill, very mellowed out, just talking about little bits and bobs here about the fucking Olympics of all things. And then them just like finding any tiny little excuse to just be like, fuck those people, am I right? And then everyone going no. Well, no, not everyone going no. Me going no, and everyone kind of just sort of like silently nodding, going like, yeah, no, you don't say that. I suppose this is one of those things where I'm trying to more figure out like why I want to talk about this, and then like one of those like stupid tism things like I brought up earlier is like, well, why am I bringing this up in the recording? Is it to see more relatable to my audience? Oh, I gotta get a YouTuber credibility with all that relatability I need. It's like, I don't know. This channel here is like, as I've said before, a place where I can kind of like vent about certain things, a place where I can just like slap on a fucking recording of a game I've been playing, and then just talk about shit that I'm going through. I went through that for like a night, basically. I didn't see much of him in the morning, thank God. If it wasn't that, it was like a conversation that I just couldn't, I felt I could not really contribute much to, because I either had zero interest in the topic or zero knowledge of the topic, and it was just like all these sort of like things that like made what he said feel like, okay, I've barely really spoken much, and it was just one of those things that kind of culminated into me being like, okay, I've been, you know, all smiles and waving the entire night. I'm like, no, I'm not gonna just sit back and let that shit just go past unchallenged. I refuse. Like, that's, especially when knowing the person who said it, I know that you are not going to have this belief the next time I see you. I guarantee. But like, while I bring this up mostly because I know pretty much everyone probably has that one family member who does all these shitty little things to say their shitty little opinions and all this kind of stuff, and that you know are just him finding an excuse to be a shitty human being. I know a lot of people have those kinds of people. I've talked about it to people I know, mostly because during that night I was just like, oh, like, because they're asking me like, how are you finding it? Like, you know, what's going on? You having a good time? And I was like, I was having an alright time. Then this one dickhead said this one thing. And I was just like, oh, I'm kind of done already. And although in my case it was like less to do with the subject and more to do with just like how out of nowhere it kind of came, and it was like, I don't know, I suppose I'm talking about this stuff mostly because it's like, if you're like me, you have that one family member you're not really looking forward to seeing or talking to. Yeah, I fucking relate. That, yeah, obviously I might not relate as hard, because, like, I mean, I've been very lucky in that so far I've not found any family member who seems to have a problem with me being bi, which, you know, so that's lucky and nice, I guess, from my perspective. So I can't 100%, you know, be like, oh, yes, I've gone through your pain. No, no. Especially, especially if you're trans or something. I absolutely will not pretend for a second that I know exactly what you've been through. Look at me. I'm wearing the same cross as you are. I've got the same challenges and strives. We're comrades in our strife. Look, you're trans are cool with me, but I'm not going to pretend I know your struggles. This is more to do with, like, I could at least somewhat relate to probably most of you in that I have that one family member I'd rather not spend time with because of how they talk about certain things pertaining to people's identities. And this isn't one of those things where I'm making a huff about it, like, oh, I'm not going back so long as they're going. It's unfortunately part of the British experience is just like chin up, bear through it, just hope it doesn't happen again kind of an attitude, which I kind of let happen like every once in a while, but I try not to, let it excuse certain things, I guess. I don't know. I feel like I objected to what he said, less to do with, like, I don't know, trying to, like, get any kind of credibility or, like, try and police any kind of a conversation, and more just being like, I try to have the thought in my head of, like, okay, if a friend of mine, if a person that I, really liked or something was hanging around, was sat next to me while this conversation was happening, would I be able to look myself in the mirror if I, either didn't stand up for them while I was, like, right next to me, or would I think they would have any ounce of respect for me, like, as a friend, if I just sat there and did nothing? It's more of a that kind of thing for me. I feel like if I do that, there's less of a kind of a hesitation due to, like, things like social anxieties and the aforementioned tisms, when I put myself in that kind of a situation without actually literally being in that kind of a situation. And while that has unfortunately led to, like, some, like, brief arguments between, like, family members or whatever the fuck, like, that for the vast majority of cases, for me, that's fine. Okay, we have an argument. Okay, we'll resolve it. We'll get over it. But, like, I don't think I want to be the kind of person that just sits there and lets shit happen. Boo-hoo, I cause an argument. Maybe someone gets upset. Oh, well. At least I can look at myself in the mirror. I don't know. I suppose the, like, footer, the leaving thing to say about this kind of a subject is, tell me your experiences about situations like that, where you have that one family member and your either bad experiences you've had with them, or just any kind of tell me your reasons as to why you're not looking forward to having to see them the next time you have to see them. Because while I might not be in the same boat as everyone else, I can at least, like, look at the waves and being like, oh no, I feel bad for that crew, is the best metaphor or analogy I can really say for it. And you can tell me those experiences either in the comments below, through a tweet, at me in the Discord, or write an anonymous email to tubesqueeze@pm.me. This has been Dom, and all I can say is the most worthwhile thing I got out of that family gathering thing was I took a case load of my favorite beer home, and I had some leftover barbecue beef tonight. Korean style. It's pretty good, although I did have to strip the bones. There wasn't that much meat. Still, it was worth it just for that, I guess. in the grand scheme of things. So long as I get a good piece of beef and some nice beer out of it, yeah, fine. I'll put up with shit, I guess. See you next time.